Hey, what up, people? Okay, so past few days I have been uh, coded, but I didn't even like really log what I did. I didn't do much work, honestly. Uh, I don't know, a little bit burnout, but that's the way it is. Um, I really want to like just trudge through this though and get it done because I'm so close, man. It's just it's a lot. It's always more than what you think, and it's kind of daunting, you know, when you finish a task and then you like discover two more. But you know, this project is so big, and I'm the only person working on it, so like it's just the way it is, you know. So let's try to get some work done. Okay, so we got our timer set. Um, we didn't finish the devlog for, so we did. See, I really fucked up here not finishing my devlog. It's not critical, like it's not crazy because I really didn't do much, but it's always good to log what you've done, and that I did not do. So let's see, part 36 we implemented proper game data reset, okay, and then we got sidetracked into refactor of card group name dictionary, right, okay, and then we mostly finished but not completely done. Well, and then we removed all code from custom append list related to hand wild cards ref list and turned it into a calculated property in player to avoid circular imports in custom append list. Reviewed everything and it looks great. Okay. So I really hate to like waste time on this, but oh well. And we only did like, we did barely an hour, if that, so we'll just put an hour, whatever, it's fine. And then we're gonna duplicate this. Let me say, what is this? Refactor player hand wildcard reference to be calculated. Okay, yeah, that's the note. So we just kind of like went from one sidetrack to another. Sort like, you know, that's the way it is though. Sometimes you take care of a thing when you see it, you know, because you might forget about it, or you know, sometimes you just feel like the moment is right, like now is the time. And some tasks are hard, and you don't really feel like working on them. You know, maybe your mental acuity is not like up to par at that moment, and you feel like you're more suited to do a simpler, easier task. That happens a good bit, and yeah. So it's really good to stay on task, but sometimes it's okay to get sidetracked. As long as you make your way back eventually, right? So removed all code from custom pen list related to hand wild cards ref. So this is copied, duh. I just copied that. But what we ended up doing was, so we sidetracked from the import issue. Well, we were doing the game data reset. We were reviewing all that. And then we came across the card group name dictionary thing. And then we fixed the circular import issue there. And then we sidetracked into another issue that we noted in custom append list associated with prior meld num and meld, what is it? Prior meld num and something else. Prior card group name and the resituate sections. So we'll just put, we'll put that here. Sidetracked into addressing confusion about prior meld num, prior card group name, etc., in the resituate section in custom append list. Very scattered here, but we're going to try to get back on track after we finish this one, because I do want to go ahead and address that. This prior card group name and the card group name thing is a little bit confusing. I was actually aware of this problem, and it needed to be done anyway. I just sort of let it cook for a while, I guess you could say. But now is the time. I'm ready to just go ahead and take care of it. Let's check our audio real quick. Audio is fine. Alright. So let's go back over here. And let's start this review here. Let's get this figured out. Alright. So. And let me put this in our devlog real quick. Did not finish. So it continued addressing the prior meld num, prior card group name, etc. issue. Alright. Why'd I open that up? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so let's begin the confusion. Here we go. All right. Consider putting hand wildcard replics or whatever in a tertiary look. Yeah, we basically did that, right? So this is done, isn't it? That means we don't need dot player anymore. Yeah, we fixed that, right? Let me see. Yeah, we deleted all that. Okay, cool. So that's done. So we don't need dot player. So that's, for some reason I didn't delete that yesterday because I didn't think that we were done, but we are indeed done. So we don't need this at all. After review, quite sure this is dead code. So we'll see that here. All right. And now we don't have to import player or master deck here. Okay. So, what we got going on here is, let's see, we have, which should we address first? The card group name or the meld num? Well, let's just read and see. So this is our section here. If custom append list, so if we're dealing with the custom append list, we're appending to it, and then we say items card group name is equal to the meld's card group name. So if we're appending a meld, that means we're going from play cards to melds. or maybe even from pre-sort play cards to play cards. But that's pretty much it. But in that case, we do want to resituate the cards to where, you know, there's certain like slots where the cards go. We want to like scoot them over or whatever to be, you know, nice and like clean looking, and that's what the resituation does. So here we're dealing with an entire meld or a custom append list, and we are assigning the item, which is the custom append list card group name, equal to this meld group's card group name. Then we iterate through the meld, and it says, quite certain this is supposed to refer to current card, not the item. Also, didn't we determine that this is dead code, as we don't actually ever use the card group name? So this is where it gets confusing, because I need to determine which of this code is dead and can just disappear, or which of it needs to refer to the custom append list card group name or the card's card group name. And we're going to have to change the name spacing of these, because having them with the same name is not, it's not okay. That is where most of the confusion started, is having them have two attributes with the same exact name. Okay. So we're assigning this is basically reassigning the card group name over and over again. So I think what I intended was for this to say current card group name. Obviously it had to have been. So we're going to change this to current card. But isn't this dead code? That's the other question. Do we actually use card group name? Well, I don't think we do, because we deleted it from we only have prior card group name left. So let's keep going here. This might just go away, because I think what happens is we end up using prior card group name instead, right? Isn't that what happened? So let me say, either if it's a card, we do the same thing. Items card group name is equal to self card group name. We may need both. So then if we're working from the client side, we check to see if the meld's card group name is in the meld group name tube. If it is, then we say if we're dealing with a custom append list, then we run, okay, we're not worried about self card group name. Okay, so here's the resituate section. This part just assigns the card group name. It's saying like, okay, you're a part of this card group now, so we're just gonna slap this identifier on you. And I don't know, we very well may need the card group name, but I thought that we could just use the prior card group name instead, because ultimately what ends up happening is whenever the card like all we really care about is the prior card group name. Because when the card gets popped from one card group to another, the card group name, well, that's the thing. I don't even think it works like that. I don't think it goes from card group name to prior card group name, and then we deal with the prior card group name. We just directly assign the prior whenever it gets popped from wherever it's coming from. So, like, that seems to be the way to go. I think we should make it like that. I think we should make it so that prior card group name is assigned whenever, or from pop. Whenever the card is leaving a card group via pop. Instead of in append, which I don't think we do assign that in append. That might be like the whole reason we don't need card group name and we just use prior instead. Okay, so moving on. So we have, if we're dealing with a custom append list, if the length is greater than 0, we got the first card is equal to item at index 0. I added that yesterday. And if the first card's prior card group name is not equal to none, and the first card's prior card group name is in the meld group name too, if the first card's prior meld num but it isn't listed as one in the file. This entire data structure and associated logic needs review. So this is the other one we're going to worry about too, is the prior meld num. That to me seems like it should be a card attribute, personally. That doesn't seem like something that should be a custom append list attribute, which I thought it was. I thought meld num. Okay, so meld num is, see, it's right there. But prior meld num isn't in either one of these. Prior meld num simply does not exist at all. If you notice here, we have no transferred attributes, and then prior meld num doesn't even exist here at all. And we got prior card group name and then prior XY, but nothing about a meld num or whatever. And see, we had already reviewed card group name, supposedly, and deemed it to be a dead object. And that's what I'm leaning towards right now. Alright, so let's just keep going here. So it checks the prior card group name for resituation. Blah, blah, blah. It resituates using this logic. That's fine. And then if it's a card instead of a entire list of cards, it checks to see if the prior card group name is equal to none or not equal to none, to ensure that in the case of resituation it is not circularly executed. And that's because if prior card group name was equal to none, that's what we set it to after we resituate it, right? I think that's what that means. So it doesn't happen twice. Because if we didn't do that, it would end up happening 2 times. Because we do recursively call we recursively call append, which this is append, so it calls append from append to resituate those cards. It's like a nested append call. So if that's equal to none, then we have this below section, which is for resituation. And that uses the prior card group name. Okay. If the item is a card and is in meld group name tube, resituates the meld card by card for proper visual display. If the item prior card group name, so if the prior card group name is in self.meld group name tube, and then we check to see if the prior meld num is not equal to none. I thought we had a note for this saying why we did that. And that was to make sure that prior meld num shouldn't equal none. Or is that up here? Where is it? Meld num equals prior item prior meld num. Okay, right here. For the case in which a temp meld is being appended to play cards, in which case there is no meld num and no need to resituate because there are no melds. Is that the same thing here? It's saying if first card prior meld num is not equal to none, and then this one just says if the card prior meld num is not equal to none, we do prior card group. Okay, so then we have an elif, but nope, that's not connected to that. So there is no else attached to this. So this is just a conditional to run this code. But I don't know why that is. Like, if prior meld num was equal to none, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that the resituation has already occurred? I think that's what it is. Doesn't this mean that doesn't item.prior meld num being equal to none here imply that resituation has already occurred? I.e., the only reason it would be none, or the only place it is assigned none, is after resituation. And I want to say that's the case, but I'm not 100%. So let's just keep going here. I want to stay on task this time. Alright, so prior card group name. Checking to see if we actually need card group name at all. So then we'd say prior card group is equal to card group name dict at item prior card group name. Sure. So now we're figuring out which card group, prior card group it is that we're going to resituate. Okay, and this handles resituation of the player.play cards. Meld group, whenever a meld is empty and about to be popped from the card group. If item's prior card group name is equal to play cards and the length of the prior card group name at the item's prior meld num is equal to 0. So if it's an empty meld from play cards, the meld num is equal to the item's prior meld num plus 1. So that means that prior meld num has to be a card attribute in the way that it's used. So this would be dictates that item.prior meld num must be a card attribute, not custom append list. Which is what I thought. But that means it needs to be created. Alright. So meld num is equal to item prior meld num plus 1. So we're resituating all the melds after it. Then we're... So for each meld in the prior card group from the meld num forward. So we're resituating all of those cards. We got card num equals 0. We iterate through each meld. And then we're resituating an empty meld. This is such fucking crazy code, honestly, dude. And then we do card num plus equals 1, meld num plus equals 1. Okay, so we're resituating ultimately. Sure, all that's fine. And we're always using the prior card group name. And honestly, so the way that it seems is that we're using prior instead of current because, well, because we're executing the resituate to be done in append instead of pop. And it seems like you would more precisely use do it from the pop location. The only thing is you can't really resituate the card group until it's been until the card has been popped from the card group. But that's the issue. Well, if we can pop first without having to call return on it in the pop method, we could do it that way. But I don't know if we can do it that way. I'm not sure. And we'll figure that out after, but we're gonna get it in a working clean state with prior meld num and prior card group name and all that, and then we can always change that after. But we gotta like get this sorted out in a general sense because we don't even know which like class we're referring to, right? Okay. So we're still using prior card group name. We then get the meld num, we iterate through, we resituate the cards, blah blah blah. And then this is if we're dealing with handles resituation of the player play cards meld group whenever a meld is empty and about to be popped from the card group. And if the prior card group name is play card, okay, and if it's empty, okay, because it's been popped, it will properly place it where it needs to go based on the associated logic. So it will scoot everything over when this part runs, this func dictionary, and that needs to be changed. The name of that needs to be changed. It should be called like visual movement function dictionary. We'll change that. Change name of locate.func dictionary to locate dot visual card movement func dict or something. Something that's more precise and like explaining what it does. Change to something that more precisely explains what it does. Yeah, that's true. Alright, so let's go back over here. Okay, so we have for current card and meld, we run the look, blah blah blah. And then this is for regular card placement, and I don't really know what does that mean, regular card placement. We don't need a div right there. There we go. Okay, so this is regular card placement. So this would be for anything else. And I feel like this should be the if, and that should be the else, because obviously this is going to be more common, right? It would be more common that we would resituate, like if we're resituating the hand or whatever, that's way more common. So let me say resituate cards. Card num is equal to 0 for current card in prior card group at item.prior meld num. Oh, so this is only for meld groups. Yeah, this code is really confusing. Okay, so then we have so we're all using prior card group name ultimately. Then we have the hand pre-sort play card resituation specifically for the cases in which the prior card group name is hand whenever the player's hand pre-sort play cards is to be resituated. Okay. The cards have just been popped from pre-sort play cards are being appended to a temp meld in play cards. Okay, then we have elif hand is in item prior card group name. Or pre-sorted. So this is all using prior. Then we say locate, resituate, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Locate functions. Alright, gotcha. So it's all prior. So the resituation section only uses the prior card group name. But the question is, where do we get prior card group name assigned? So now if we go to pop, and we're looking at self card group name, this is referring to the custom append list attribute. Then we say self at item prior card group name. Again, that's the card's prior card group name is equal to the custom append list card group name. Completely different attributes here. And then we say if self is in the self card group, remember that item will always be in since it is an index. True. To add in the rest of the reference list, This line was added because we had to make reference list instances of custom append list or custom time list for the purpose of skeleton data exchange. These lists were never intended to be custom append lists. Meaning they don't need to have the same functionality that all their custom append list instances do. This if statement avoids if clause. Avoids all of the rest of the code's execution, allowing it to have only the required section to be run. Okay, sure. And we can make this an inline comment, right? Like that. All right. So if it's not in the ref list tube, then we want to do all this stuff to it. So if it's a card, blah, 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 then we will say, do not transfer. This line, along with pretty much everything else in this file associated with the pen pop clear, do not need to be transferred as long as the associated method is executed. All these data changes that happen after the method call are derivative and therefore do not need to be transferred. Okay, yeah, I understand. We don't even need that comment anymore. Alright. Alright, so here's where we set it. This is where we set it. So in pop, we set the card prior card group name equal to the custom append lists card group name. And it has to be that way. We have to have the custom append list having a card group name. And the card has to have the prior card group name. Unless we just directly handled resituation right here in pop, and that would make it to where we wouldn't have to run resituation in append, which is the reason that we need to have this prior card group name attribute in the first place. We could just not assign it as an attribute and just straight up resituate it as soon as it gets popped. And that is like the way that it should be. And that's the way that I want to make that happen. So I need to figure out how can we make this happen. That's ultimately what we're going to do here. So let's just keep going though and make sure that we can get rid of the card's card group name attribute completely. And like understand that that is dead and not necessary at all. So if it's a card, we assign the prior card group name equal to this, blah, blah, blah. If the self.card group name is in the meld group name tube. Yeah, we don't even need to. I mean, that's pretty explanatory. If self is in self.card group, if the meld, okay, that is a bit confusing, so I will keep that comment. But so if the self card group name is in self meld group name too. If self is in then we say self at item dot prior meld num equals self dot meld num. And isn't prior meld num also only used for resituation? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason we ever refer to the prior meld num at all. Like, there is no other reason. Which means we wouldn't even need to have that. That would be another attribute that we could just get rid of. We could just get rid of a few lines of code and make it way more like simple and easier to read and easier to understand. Like, it's just, it would be better all around if we can move this resituation to happen from pop instead of append. So that's the goal here. So if the self's card group name is in self.meld group name tube, and the meld, or yeah, the associated meld is in